All right, let's put on our detective hats today, because we're going to solve a classic grammar mystery, the case of the confusing pronoun. If you have ever found yourself just staring at a sentence, stuck between two verbs and wondering which one is right, well, stick around. We are about to crack this case wide open.
Okay, here's our first clue. Take a look at this sentence. Most of the team, should it be is healthy or are healthy? If you've ever had to pause and think about something just like this, you are definitely not alone. This is a classic little grammar puzzle that trips up even the pros. But don't you worry, we're going to get to the bottom of it.
Stick with me, and by the end of this, you're going to hold the master key to solving this puzzle every single time. And you know what the best part is? The solution is way simpler than you probably think.
So, what's the secret weapon? Well, it all comes down to one core rule: agreement. It's simple, really. The subject of your sentence has to agree with its verb. And when the subject is an indefinite pronoun, one of those words that doesn't point to a specific person or thing, it still has to match up. Singular subject, you need a singular verb. Plural subject, you guessed it, plural verb. This is our guiding principle for the entire investigation. Let's start with our first lineup of suspects. I call these the always groups. Now, these are the pronouns that follow a very strict code. They never, ever change their story, which makes them super easy to identify once you know what to look for.
So, on one side, you've got the always singular crew. We're talking words like each, everyone, and nothing. Then, on the other side, you have the always plural gang. Think several, few, both, and many. The key here is that these pronouns are totally predictable. Just get these two groups down, and I promise you, you're already halfway to solving pretty much any case.
Let's see this in action, right? The pronoun everything is on our singular list. That means the verb has to be singular too. Everything was in its place. It's a perfect match. It just sounds right, doesn't it?
Here's another one for you. The subject is no one, which we know is always singular. So the verb has to follow along and be singular as well. Now in the present tense, that usually means adding an S. So no one wants to go first. See how it just clicks right into place?
All right, let's flip over to the other side of our lineup, the plurals. Here, the subject is few. We know from our list that few is always plural, so the verb has got to follow suit. Few are ready. Simple as that.
Okay, let's take a look at several. It's on our plural list, so the verb is are. Now, you might notice that little phrase of the townspeople. Here's a pro tip. For these always groups, phrases like that don't change a thing. The pronoun is the boss, and the verb just follows its lead. Period.
Okay, the easy suspects are behind bars. Now it's time for the real masterminds of this whole grammar mystery, the undercover agents. These pronouns are tricky. They're like chameleons, because their number can actually change depending on the situation.
Meet the depends group. We've got some, most, all, none, and any. Sometimes they're singular, and other times they're plural. So how in the world do we figure out their true identity? Well, we need to look for a special clue that's hidden right there in the sentence. And here it is. This is the secret clue for our undercover agents. You need to look at the phrase that comes right after the pronoun. It usually starts with a word like of. The noun that's inside that phrase, that's your key. It tells you whether the pronoun is acting singular or plural in this particular case. Okay, let's apply this to our original mystery, most of the team. The pronoun is most. The phrase right after it, of the team. The key noun here is team. Now, is team one thing or many things? It's a single unit, so it's singular. That means the pronoun most also becomes singular for this sentence. And so, the verb must be the singular is.
Now let's look at a different case file, most of the sophomores. The pronoun is still most, but this time the key noun is sophomores, and that's plural. So most now takes on a plural identity, which means the verb has to be plural too, attend. See how the noun in that little phrase is the ultimate clue? It changes everything.
All right, detective, you have all the clues. Let's go back to the scene of the crime. Most of the team, with everything we've just uncovered, what's the final verdict? Take a second and apply the rule. You've got this.
And case closed. The correct sentence is, most of the team is healthy. Why? Because that key noun, team, is singular, so the verb has to be is. Fantastic work, detective. You have totally cracked the case.
Now that you've cracked your first case, let's put together your official detective's toolkit. This is going to help you solve any confusing pronoun mystery you run into out there in the wild. It's a really simple three-step method. First, you identify the indefinite pronoun that's acting as the subject. Second, check if it's from one of our always groups. If it is, boom, your work is done. If not, then you've got one of those undercover agents. So you move to step 3. Look at the key noun in the phrase that follows. That noun is the boss, and it determines your verb.
So why does any of this matter? Well, it's more than just a grammar rule. When your subjects and your verbs agree, your writing just becomes clearer, more polished, and more professional. It's one of those small details that really builds your credibility and makes your communication so much more powerful. You now have the tools to tackle these pronoun cases with total confidence. So the only question left is, what grammar mystery are you going to solve next? Thanks so much for joining our investigation today. Now go out there and keep those sentences sharp.